Well, hello everybody and welcome to Vinyl Treasures. I'm your host, Johnny G. John Galindo, coming to you live each and every Saturday, only here on Top Shelf Oldies. Want to welcome you to the July 17th, 2021 Vinyl Treasure Show on this kind of like a rainy, muggy, thundery night here. The weather was really very weird today, sun and rain and heavy rain and whatnot. But you can sit back for the next 3 hours, some cool 45s out of my collection. I'm here from 10 to 1 a.m. spinning original vinyl 45s. It's all 1950s and early 60s. Couldn't get into the Top Shelf Oldies chat room for some reason. Charlene told me she had trouble also. So I'll try to do that. But anyway, we opened up tonight's 50s edition with the Chuck Alamo Quartet. They are out of Rochester, New York. It's their fourth and final release on the MGM record label. It's called Rockin' in G. Came out in April of 1958. And what that means is you'll be rocking with Johnny G tonight. This very cool instrumental here from April 58. Rockin' in G on MGM, the Chuck Alamo Quartet. Well, enough of my babbling here. We have lots of requests, lots of rarities tonight, so I hope you can stick around here as we open up the vocal portion on Bess Berman's Apollo Records. And this song is really appropriate for this time of year. You know, it's really hot out. I mean, I don't like to wear Bermuda shorts, and I don't know if many guys do. Is that really the in thing, Bermuda shorts? But anyway, it features Reggie Walker on lead. He's the bass of the group. This one from July 57, Bess Berman's Apollo record label, the Delroys, with their tune called Bermuda Shorts. I don't have them on.
Bermuda, Bermuda, Bermuda shorts. 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 Say, baby, hey, take them shots. I was walking down the street other day, wearing Bermuda shorts. What the play? I felt a funny feeling and I looked to see all the girls were admiring me. I said, baby, hey, take them shots. Boom, boom, boom. Bermuda, 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 I said, baby, hey, take them shots. What is the girls, they begin to smile. Short eyes wearing were kinda wild. And this one yell, what can it be? And all the chicks start whistling at me. I say, baby, hey, dig them shots. Past the boys, they were hot as could be. I told them to get some shorts like me. They all went down to their near store, and they all have Bermudas when they came out the door. I said, baby, hey, dig them shorts. Boom, boom, boom. Bermuda, Bermuda, Bermuda shorts. Bermuda, Bermuda, Bermuda shorts. Bermuda, Bermuda, Bermuda shorts. Bermuda, Bermuda, Bermuda shorts. I said, baby, hey, dig them shorts. Boom, boom, boom. Bermuda, Bermuda, Bermuda shorts. Bermuda, Bermuda, Bermuda shorts. Bermuda, Bermuda, Bermuda shorts. Bermuda, Bermuda, Bermuda shorts. Say, baby, hey, dig them. Bermuda, 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 Bermuda shorts.
Those are the Delroys from July 1957 on the Apollo record label, Bermuda Shorts. Hopefully you're in your Bermuda shorts. I am not. It was cold up here in the attic here where I do all my research, and I have a mess of records all over the place. But I did have shorts on, but I put my long pants on when I do my show. Anyway, actually about this group here. This group would dress up in Bermuda shorts when performing live on stage, and they later recorded for the Sparkle label. I Need That 45. I think it's called like Wise Old Owl, something like that. I Do Need That 45. And they have another one on the Carol label that I do have. Johnny G here on a Saturday evening. Let's continue here. We head to Philadelphia, PA for the very first release to come out on the Red Top label. Red Top Records, owned by Doc Bagby, Melvin Schwartz, and Irving Nahan. And it's the debut single for this group. They're called The Students, not to be confused with the I'm So Young group. But the lead singer on this is Collie Williams. This charted regionally number 9 on WKBW in Buffalo, New York. We go to August 1957. These are The Students on Red Top. Their tune called Mommy and Daddy.
Hey, mommy and daddy and mommy and daddy, whoa, mommy and daddy and mommy and daddy, whoa,
mommy and daddy and mommy and daddy, whoa, whoa. I love my mother and my father too. And daddy and mommy, I'll always love them through and through.
Those are The Students out of Philadelphia. They're The Students with Collie Williams on lead. August 1957, it's on the Red Top record label. That's actually a record to kick off the label called Mommy and Daddy. Now, this Collie Williams, he would later become the lead singer of a group called The Allures that recorded for the Melron label. That's another Philly label. Johnny G here on a Saturday evening. Got to set up my... I don't know if I got that set up right, my webcam there. But anyway, we count down the music chronologically here on the 50s edition, and we open up with a record out from December 53 and a request for listener Daniel Kubacki. He requested the first of 9 for Charlie Fuqua's Ink Spots, and the 9 releases span the years 1953 through 1955, and this was their first. It features Jimmy Holmes on Jimmy Holmes lead tenor, and Harold Jackson. He's the bass recitation. He does the bass recitation part of this too. So this is by request for Daniel Kubacki, December 53. The Ink Spots on the King label. It's called Here in My Lonely Room.
cried my heart out over you. Can't seem to pull myself together now that we are through. Each time I look at your picture, I begin to pine, all because it reminds me you're no longer mine. Here in my lonely room, I almost drive myself insane, watching the tear-like raindrops splash against my window pane. There's only one thing I know of that could take away this gloom, and that would be to see you standing here in my lonely room.
Here in my lonely room. Honey child, you got me crying over you. But someday I'll be on top, and you'll be somebody's fool.
There's only one thing I know of that would take away this gloom, and that would be to see you standing here in my lonely
As by request for Daniel Kubacki, the Ink Spots. You normally don't hear the Ink Spots. That's actually a pretty good record. I like that song there. December 1953 on the King record label, Here in My Lonely Room. Well, you're not here in your lonely room every Saturday from 10 to 1 a.m. right here on the Vinyl Treasure Show and Top Shelf Oldies. And I got to say happy birthday to Warren Russell, celebrating a birthday today. Warren, how was that pie? And did you have vanilla ice cream with that pie? Because it looked pretty good in the picture on Facebook. And we're going to send a record out to, we'll send this next record out to Warren here. And on last week's show, I featured the Meadowlarks, their debut single, the intended B-side of their debut single. It was called Love Only You. It featured Ronald Barrett on lead. Sounded a lot like G by the Crows. You can call the lawyers on that side. But, this Ronald Barrett, he was the brother of Fanita Barrett James, was a member of the Dreamers and the Blossoms. But let's give a spin to the intended A-side before we file this one back down in the No Humidity basement. And Don Julian, he is in the group at this time, but he is not the lead. It's Ronald Barrett on lead. We're going to send this one out to the birthday boy. We're going to send it out to Warren Russell here on his birthday, January 54, the Meadowlarks on RPM. It's called Real Pretty Mama.
Real pretty mama, come on in my door. Do-wop, do-do-do-wop. Real pretty mama, come on in my door. Do-wop, do-do-do-wop. Tell the other girls I don't want them anymore. Do-wop, do-do-do-wop. Hey pretty mama, fall into my arms. Call me sugar daddy and give me all your charms. You sure look good to me. Yes, you sure look good to me. Baby, you the only only one can relieve my misery. Do-wop, do-do-do-wop. Hey, pretty mama, I know we can agree. Everything you got is simply meant for me. We can have some fun. Yes, we can have some fun. When you come to my house, I will never have you run. Do-wop, do-do-do-wop. Mama, you're just my style. I pull down the shades and we can play a while. Come on in my door. Yes, come on in my door. Baby, you can have the key so you can come on back some more. Do-wop, do-do-do.
That's the debut single to the Meadowlarks. Thank you, Norm. The Meadowlarks there. January 1954. Ronald Barrett on lead. Real Pretty Mama is the name of the tune. Let's stay in 1954 with a request for Florida listener Tom Shaughnessy as we go back to Philadelphia. But I want to say something that Tom Shaughnessy has found out about the show. I don't know, maybe Tom, has it been maybe 2 weeks now, 2 or 3 weeks, and he communicates with Johnny G. He sends me quite a few emails during the day back and forth when I'm working and I hear my phone ping, and he'll ask me a question. Do I know this song? It's pretty cool to go back and forth with listeners like that. And Tom has been around a long time, so he knows a lot about the music. And it's actually, I was talking to Dave the Rave today, and this morning he sent me an email. He says, "Johnny G, good morning. And I wrote something about your show." He wrote a poem about my show, and no one's ever done that for me before. And I was kind of touched a little bit about this poem here, and it almost sounds like a song. But he said, "Good morning, Johnny G. Today is the day. Tonight is the night, Johnny G. We'll make it right. Playing great songs from your collection. Go, Johnny, go. Let the music flow. Touch the hearts of folks who listen. Tell your stories we all long to hear. He opens the door to the past. Brings us back in time when we hung around the soda shop, hear music, drinking pop. We listened to the Coasters, the Cadillacs, and the Wrens, and these days wonder whatever happened to those friends. Johnny G brings us back in time with the music he plays, and I'll say all the time. Go, Johnny G, go." What a cool thing, Tommy. Thank you for sending me that. And Tommy made some requests for tonight's show, as he requested this group out of Philadelphia. They're called The Dreams. As I lost my place here, we go back to Philadelphia for the sound of The Dreams. They had 3 releases on Herman Lubinsky's Savoy Records. Now, Tom wanted to hear the B-side to their first. Of course, the A-side was called Darlene, but this is the flip, written by the bass of the group. His name is Stephen Pressberry. And this side features, again, George Tinley. He's the lead singer on this. This is by request for Tom Shaughnessy, April 1954. These are The Dreams on Savoy. It's called A Letter to My Girl.
I'm writing to my girl, the
sweetest little girl in the world. I know that she'll be blue, still she'll be true to me. When I was in the world, I had no other girl, but now I'm blue because I can't have you. So I'm writing to my girl, the sweetest little girl in the world. I know that she'll be blue, but still she'll be true to me. In this envelope, dear, enclosed now is a tear to find a little space in your heart. In this envelope, dear, enclosed is a tear to find a space in your
Those are the Dreams, April 1954, the flip of Darlene. It's a letter to my girl. Herman Lubinsky, Savoy Records. It's by request for Tom Shaughnessy. Now, the Dreams would also record under the made-up name of Kenny Esquire and the Starlights on Al Silver's Ember record label. That's a pretty cool 45. I have to pull that one out again to play as we continue here on the Vinyl Treasure Show. We head to Chicago, Illinois. This is a request for listener Nick Nicola. This gal had 4 releases on Al Benson's Blue Lake record label. Now, Nick requested her second. Her name is Lou McClinton, but she recorded as Lou Mack. And she co-wrote this song, and there is an uncredited group that is backing her up on this. They're called the Palms, and it's featuring Red Holloway and his orchestra. Red Holloway is on sax. This is by request for Nick, July 1955, Lou Mack on Blue Lake. It's called Slow Down.
Slow down. No, no, I can't slow down. Slow down. No, no, I can't slow down. Baby, slow down. No, I can't slow down. I just got groovy and I can't slow down. Slow down. No, no, I can't slow down. Slow down. No, no, I can't slow down. Baby, slow down. No, no, can't slow down. I just got groovy and I can't slow down. Oh, you're running around the city and you think you're slick. Every time we meet you with a different chick. I'm only trying to stop you 'cause I love you so. You swim locomotive, let me step on board. Slow down. No, no, I can't slow down. Slow down. No, no, I can't slow down. Slow down. No, no, can't slow down. I just got groovy and I can't slow down. I'm crazy about your manner and the way you dress. Every time I think of you, it moves the flesh. When I see you, baby, my temperature rise. You're a hot little
Papa, you my side. Slow down.
Oh no, I can't slow down.
Slow down.
Oh no, I can't slow down.
Baby, slow down.
Oh no, can't slow down. I just got groovy and I can't slow down.
Car that has the Cadillac beat. Slow down.
No, no, I can't slow down.
Slow down.
No, no, I can't slow down.
Baby, slow down.
No, no, I can't slow down. I just got groovy and I can't slow down.
I can slow down.
No, no, I can't slow down.
Slow down.
No, no, I can't slow down.
Baby, slow down.
July 1955 from Miss Lou Mack there by request for Nick Nicole on the Blue Lake record label. Slow Down is the name of the tune. Johnny G going to be slowing down soon. I can't really publicize it, but there's some reorganization changes in my company which were very interesting to hear, and it was kind of depressing to hear, really. And then Friday my battery of my Cadillac died. Good thing that my sister had AAA. The guy was really nice. He came here and he changed the battery. He said, the battery needed to be charged for 4 hours, or I had to drive around town for 2 hours. I said, that's not going to work. And he couldn't guarantee it either. So I said, put the new battery in. So he put a new battery in. Cost me altogether like $210 for the battery. But anyway, at least I don't have to worry about the car. I don't use it that much now in these days of working from home. But anyway, Johnny G, Galloping Woes here, but let's continue with the music. This next group, I'm saying this group is from Birmingham, Alabama, and it's a request for Daniel Kubacki, as this is their lone release on the local Vulcan label, and I'm guessing that Oliver Henderson, he's the lead singer here, but I was reading Marvin Podd's book, and he said that this group is from Chicago, and Charlene doesn't take any bull, because Charlene has been, I've been telling Charlene, I said, these guys are questioning some of the information, blah, blah, blah. She's like, well, tell them to contact me. This group, Johnny, this group is not from Chicago. There's an ad in Billboard, and it says in the May 55 Billboard, the ad says, "From the Heart of Dixie, the nation's newest singing quintet." And there's an advertisement for this record and a picture of the group. So if they were, it just didn't make sense. And then some people think that this group, the Five Owls, were also the Thunderbirds on like a similar label, GG Records out of Birmingham, Alabama. But anyway, Marvin, you got to double check that record there. But anyways, from May 1955, these are the Five Owls by request for Daniel Kubacki on the Vulcan label. It's called Pleading to You.
Yes, I love you, darling. Say
Yes, by request for Daniel Kubacki, The Five Owls. May 1955, it's on the Vulcan record label. Pleading to You is the name of the tune. Now, for you collectors out there, the true first press is like the shiny label. If you have it like on that flat maroon label, that is the second press, but still worth some bucks. But again, Marvin Pod, you said it's from Chicago. I saw the ad in Billboard magazine that May 1955. You can check it out there. And speaking of Marvin Pod, this coming Wednesday, July 21st, 2021, a collector author, Marvin Pod, he will be a guest disc jockey on MemoryLaneOldies.com. And you can tune in from 4:30 to 7:30 this coming Wednesday p.m., 4:30 to 7:30 p.m. And he is a collector. He plays original 45s out of his collection. Of course, Marvin is the author of that 2-volume set, R&B and Doo-Wop vocal group recordings on 45 RPM. It's an information and price guide. It's still available on Amazon, so you can order them. I think they're $20 each book. So the book is $20, but he is making corrections and he's finding out information, and you can tune into his show. He's going to be a guest DJ on MemoryLaneOldies.com. And he mentions Johnny G in that book. Yes, he does. Thank you, Marvin. As we continue here on the Vinyl Treasure Show, and last week I played a request for Matey Campboy. She requested the 5 Keys, the B-side of their 4th single on the Capitol label. It was called I Wish I Never Learned to Read. Now, as listener Darrell Letts asked Johnny G to play the A-side, which charted regionally number 6 on WHOD out of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. This side features Marilyn Pierce on lead. This one from July 55, the 5 Keys on the Capitol label. The song is called Don't You Know I Love You.
Don't you know I love you? Don't you know I love you? Don't you know I love you? Don't you know, don't you know, don't you know? Don't you know I love you? Don't you know I love you? Don't you know I love you? Don't you know, don't you know, don't you know? Oh, hey baby, can't you see what you do to me? Oh, I'm telling you, you're the sweetest little thing I ever knew. I take my heart and keep it. I take my heart and keep it. I take my heart and keep it. I keep my heart, keep my heart, keep my heart. That's what you are. Don't you know I love you? Don't you know I love you? Don't you know I love you? Don't you know, don't you know, don't you know? Ooh.
Yes, Warren, have to agree. The 5 Keys were always underrated. Even though their Aladdin releases weren't as polished, They still were a great group. The harmonies that the Five Keys would do, and that's a request for Daniel Letts. The Five Keys there, July 1955. That's the A side on Capitol Records. Don't You Know I Love You, written by Charles Singleton and Rosemarie McCoy. Great writing team, wrote so many great R&B tunes, and along with Howard Biggs and the orchestra. Johnny G here on a Saturday evening, spinning original vinyl 45s out of my collection. No stinking MP3s like Hi-Fi Tim features on the his Monday night Hi-Fi party, or CDs. No, all original vinyl. Sometimes not sounding so clear, as I got a record coming out later on the Luck label that isn't that clean. But anyway, let's head to Pasadena, California for this next request. This is a request for Mark Goldfarb. He's looking for this 45. He requested the Chromatics. The Chromatics, who not only had their own releases, but they also backed up many other artists like Bob Williams and Sherry Washington and Lee Wynn, and this singer who was described on the label. I'll show it to you again. It's kind of interesting. The singing discovery of the Hesperia Inn in Hesperia, California. Does anybody know where Hesperia, California is, and if there is that inn there? I guess a hotel or whatever, but that's kind of interesting. But his name is Jules Savoy, who, by the way, and Nick Nicola saw it, that he autographed this copy. And this is the first of 4 that the Jules Savoy and the Chromatics have on this label. And I have them all, or I'm missing one of them. I know that Spence sold me, I think he sold them to me. I think I'm missing one, though, but I'm not sure. But anyway, this is by request for Mark Goldfarb, 1955 on the Real label, REAL, Jules Savoy and the Chromatics. It's called Would You?
Would you only at a glance, would you take a chance? Let me show you that love can really be had. Really be had. Would you kiss me once or twice? Would you just take my advice? Take my advice. Let me show you that love isn't so bad. It takes so little for people to love. It's yours if you're willing. It's sent from heaven above. Oh, would you let me take your hand? Would you wear my wedding band? Tell me, darling, that your love can really be had. Really be had.
As by request for Mark Goldfarb, Jules Savoy and the Chromatics there, 1955 on the Real, REAL, Real record label. Would You is the name of the tune. That's the first of 4. And Brian, what did you mention? Because there's a lot of odd stuff on that Real record label. I have other stuff on that label that I don't know. I don't even think it's playable on the Vinyl Treasure show. Let's continue here. Yes, Warren, the same Chromatics on Crest. That is correct. Johnny G here on a Saturday evening. Let's stay out in California with this girl group. These gals were previously members of the Dreamers, who backed up Richard Berry on, I think it was Flair, or was it RPM, or both. But they are Gloria Jones, Annette Williams and Fanita Barrett. Fanita Barrett, the sister of Ronald Barrett that we heard earlier singing lead with the Meadowlarks. But this is their first of two on Leon Renee's Class record label. We go back to July 1956 now. The Rolettes. The Rolettes on Class. It's called Sad Fool.
Sad fool that I was, all alone, watching the stars, hoping you come back to me, come back to me. You captured me with your charms. Now you've left me all alone. I've been a fool. I am the saddest of fools. I'm walking round in circles, my darling, out of my mind, because a true love, my baby, is left behind. I know it's so hard to find. I've been the saddest of fools. I long to hold you in my arms, but you left me all alone. I broke the rules. I am the saddest of fools. I am the saddest of fools.
Those are the Rolettes. They're the first of two on Leon Renee's Class record label, July 1956. Sad Fool is the name of the tune. These gals later recorded as the Blossoms. And for you collectors out there, this is the, I think it's the, is it the first, I don't know, I think that's Class 201. I think there's a Class 200. But the flip side of this is a instrumental by Googie Renee, Wham Bam. I think I have opened the show with that. And this record, this Class release, it comes on the Shiny label, sort of like how the Richard Berry and the Pharaohs Shiny label, and it also comes on the Flat label Class. Johnny G here, holding Class every Saturday from 10 to 1 a.m. here on Top Shelf Oldies. Let's continue here. And last week, I played the Hepsters' second release on the Ron L label out of Chicago, Illinois, but the group is from Cleveland, Ohio. I featured the side called This Away. Now let's give a spin to the flip side before it goes back down in the No Humidity basement. This features Joe Williams on lead. This one released in December 1956, a rare 45 on the Ron L label, the Hepsters, with their tune called I Gotta Sing the Blues.
Whoa, 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 whoa. I gotta sing, sing the blues. I got to weep and cry. My baby left me this morning and didn't leave no reason why. I gotta sing the blues. Something sad and slow. I got to weep and more, 'cause I'm feeling mighty low. I can't start laughing when I want to cry. I
start laughing.
When I want to cry,
I guess I'll keep on living, 'cause I don't want to die. Whoa, 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 whoa.
I gotta sing,
whoa, whoa,
sing the blues.
whoa, whoa,
Oh man, this broken heart. I got to sing the blues to get a new start.
brand new start.
Almost got caught on that cold ending there, but it wasn't a cold ending. No, the Hipsters there, I Gotta Sing the Blues. It's on the Ronell record label. And Bip Bop Boom John, he likes that tune by the Hipsters, December 1956, with Joe Williams on lead. That's the first of, the second of two by the group. The first one's pretty cool too, that I like. I like the Hipsters. I do. Sound of Chicago. Let's continue here on the Vinyl Treasure Show. Up next, a request for George Tompkins. This is on Al Silver's Ember record label. This group is called the Concords, not to be confused with the group from Brooklyn, New York that recorded for RCA and Gramercy and Russ. This is a completely different group, and it's rumored that this group could be the same Concords group that recorded for the Harlem label, minus Milton Love. I don't know, but the writer credits on this, they are Big Bob Cornegay and James Wynn. So by request for George, we go back to August 1956, the Concords on the Ember label. It's called I'll Always Say Please.
I'll always say please, because I love you so. I'll always say please, because you did to me. I'll always say please, because I need you, dear. I'll always love you, hoping you will be mine. My darling, I love you right from the start. I'll give you all my heart and soul. I'll tell you and the world just how I feel. Oh, how I feel about you. I'll always say please, because I love you so. I'll always say please, because you're mine. I'll always say please, because I want you, darling. I'll always say please, because you're
As by request for George Tompkins there, great tune by the Concords, August 1956 on Al Silver's Ember Records. Ember Records there, I'll always say please. Johnny G always says please. I never demand. I had to tell Barbara, you need to ask. You don't say, you should do this, and you should do that, and you got to do this. And it's always, why don't you consider, or please consider. You have to be nice. Johnny G is always nice. Let's continue here on the Vinyl Treasure Show. Up next, a request for listener Emnon. He requested band leader and songwriter Buddy Johnson, and one of Buddy Johnson's most successful songs. I'm sure many of you know the tune. It was called, a song he wrote, it was called Since I Fell For You, but he also had a number of cool instrumental releases, and often his sister Ella Johnson would provide vocals. Now, Emnon requested a vocal by Ella along with a vocal group. This vocal group backing her up, they get credit on the Mercury label. They're known as the BJs, Beejays. And this charted number 9 on the Billboard R&B chart. So this is by request for Emnon, July 56. Ella Johnson and the BJs on the Mercury label. It's called Bring It Home to Me.
Well, I need your loving, kissing your hugging. I need your loving. That's all I need, so bring it home to me. 'Cause I miss you, baby. Missing you, baby. It's driving me crazy. You all I miss, so bring it home to me. We were happy as we could be a long time ago, but so many men kept pulling over me. I goof and let you go, but now I need your loving, kissing your hugging. I need your loving. That's all I need, so bring it home to me. We were happy as we could be a long time ago, but so many men kept pulling over me. I goof and let you go, but now I need your loving, kissing your hugging. I need your loving. That's all I need, so bring it home to me. That's all I need, so bring it home to me.
Yeah, that is a boppin' tune, as Bobby Gass says. That's by request for listener Emnon, July 1956. Ella Johnson and the BJs, and her brother Buddy Johnson, and his band backing them up on the Mercury record label. Bring It Home to Me is the name of the tune. That's a cool dancing song for Emnon. Let's continue here on the Vinyl Treasure Show. Yes, Brian K., a twin spin on the Mercury label. Now, last week I featured a request for George Tompkins by the Five Dreams. It was called You Are My Only. Now, George also requested the flip side, and even though this quintet is out of Cleveland, what did I say? Yeah, Cleveland, Ohio. It seems that the Eldorados might have inspired them, at least on this recording. So listen very closely to this tune, because I think it sounds like an Eldorados song, or they sound very similar to the Eldorados. I've discussed this with George. Now, I will follow this up without pause with an El Dorado song. And so just listen closely and we'll see. But anyway, this is by request for George Tompkins, June 1957, The Five Dreams on the Mercury label. It's called Up All Night Long for George.
Boom, 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 do, boom, boom, boom.
Trying to find my home, she went away. Come home to stay. I love you so, never let you go. Oh baby G, come home to me, you know. Baby, don't go. I cried for you all night for you. I'm alone and blue. What am I to do? I love you so, never let you go. Oh baby G, come home to me. Oh, I love you baby, baby, don't go.
My loving baby G, how she loves me. My loving baby, oh, but she thrills me so. My loving baby, well, she wants to love me. My loving baby, gee, what she does to me. My loving baby, well, she satisfies my time. Hey, 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 hey. Well, my loving baby, she knows I'm so far away. My loving baby, she wants my loving every day. My loving baby, well, she wants to love me. My loving baby, gee, what she does to me. My loving baby, well, she satisfies my time. Hey, 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 hey. Brother, she loves me every morning. Brother, she loves me every night. Well, I'm telling you, my girl's loving, well, it really is alright, because my loving baby, gee, what she does to me. My loving baby, oh, she thrills me so. My loving baby, well, she satisfies my time. Hey, hey, hey. right. Oh, well, I'm telling you, my girl's loving. Well, it really is alright because my loving baby, gee, what she does to me. My loving baby, oh, but she thrills me so. My loving baby, well, she satisfies my time. Hey, 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 hey.
So what did you think? Those are the similarities between the two. We heard the Five Dreams first. June 57 on the Mercury record label, Up All Night Long. And to me and to George, they were influenced, I think, a lot by this group. The great El Dorados, as I have it on, actually the El Dorados, the press that I featured, it's spelled wrong with an A instead of an O. They spelled it wrong. I have it on the red wax copy. And Perkle Lee Moses, he's the lead singer there, Vivian Carter's VJ record label. And the Five Dreams there sounding familiar to me, or very similar. This El Dorados release, August 1954. That's their debut single. Their debut single on the VJ record label. And red wax to boot. That looked, and it's not a boot, it's a real one. Johnny G only plays the real thing here. You can actually touch them, Tim. You can actually feel them. Not like your MP3s. You really can't feel. There's like an empty feeling there, isn't it? As we continue here on the Vinyl Treasure Show. Now, one of the up-tempo openers last week was by the Whirlers, a.k.a. the Empires, on Bobby Robinson's Whirling Disc label. And the side was called Tonight and Forever. And I think it was Daryl that asked Johnny G to flip it over. And actually, this is a re-recording of their second release that they came out on the New York City Harlem label in April of 55. And again, it features the same lead. His name is John Barnes. They re-sang the song. This is by request for Daryl on Whirling Disc Records, the re-recording of Magic Mirror from May 1957. These are the Whirlers.
Do 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 do.
Magic mirror on the wall, is she the fairest of them all? Oh, tell me, magic mirror on the wall, magic mirror on the wall, do you think she loves me at all? Oh, tell me, magic mirror on the wall, will she be mine, just to have and to hold, just as long as I live, till death do us part? Tell me, mirror on the wall, does she love me? Magic mirror on the wall, is she the fairest of them all? Oh, tell me, magic mirror on the wall.
By request for Daryl Letts, they're the Whirlers, a.k.a. the Empires. John Barnes on lead, May 1957, on the Whirling Disc record label, their resung version of Magic Mirror. Johnny G here on a Saturday evening. Thank you all for tuning in. If you're new to the Vinyl Treasure Show, please subscribe to Johnny G's YouTube page. I forgot to ask Braden if he knows how to connect Facebook to Instagram, because I am on Instagram. I know I picked up some listeners on the Instagram, and I just don't know how to do the connection. I'm not the greatest when it comes. I'm better than some, but not the best when it comes to some of this internet jive. But anyway, Johnny G here, spinning original vinyl 45s. We head out to Detroit, Michigan, with a request for listener Joe Shacatano. It's on George Braxton's Fox label. Now, this label's biggest hit, you know what the biggest hit was on this Fox label? It's a pretty cool record, like a rockabilly group record by Danny Zella and the Zellrocks. It's called Wicked Ruby. That was the biggest record on this label because I think it charted nationally, if I'm not mistaken. But there are some great group sounds on this label too, like the Romeos and the Laredos, and this group that Joe requested, they're called the Four Clippers. It features Herschel Hunter on lead. We go back to September 1957 for the Four Clippers on the Fox label by request for Joe Shacatano. Joe, I hope you're not getting a lot of this where you are, but the song is called Rain. That's September 1957 release there for the Four Clippers by request for Joe Shacatano on the Fox record label. Fox Records there, a song entitled Rain that a lot of us are getting. That record out of Detroit, Michigan. Interesting thing with that record is I used to, when John Tefteller used to send out his auction list, this is a while ago, and I would call, I never really was a fan of call-in bidding because I really didn't know what was going on the other line. So I called him up on this record. I didn't have it. And I lost it. I forget what the price was. I think I bid like $200 $204.13 or something, but I didn't win it. But then he included it in the package when the couple records I won, and he said, Johnny, the guy backed out of this, so if you wanted it, your bid. And I was lucky to get it. It has a little slight warp to it, but it plays pretty nice. So I kept the record anyway. Johnny G here on a Saturday evening, spinning original vinyl 45s. We are in the year 1957. And the other up-tempo opener last week that I played was by the Schoolboys. The Schoolboys, a kiddie lead group out of Harlem, New York. It features Leslie Martin. He's the lead singer. I featured the group's third release on the OK record label. It was called Pearl. That was the name of the tune. Now listener Daryl Letts asked Johnny G to play the flip side, and the song is about another girl, their girl named Carol. I remember hearing this on oldie radio when I first started listening to the music. This one charted, believe it or not. This was a #1 record on WKBW out of Buffalo, New York, back in 1957. So by request for Daryl, July 1957, give a listen to the Schoolboys on the OK record label. Yes, Brian, it's on Styrene, and their tune called Carol.
And there is Carol up above, and she's the one for me. I love her, yes, I do, and I'll never let her go. Well, Carol, I love you so. Please come back, because I love you so.
Carol, my dear, please come back. I love you. You know I do. Carol, my dear, I'll be sincere.
Please come back to me. Well, Carol, I love you so. Please come back, because I love you so.
As by request for Daryl Letts there, those are the Schoolboys, Leslie Martin and the Schoolboys. July 1957 release on the OK record label. That's their third release, song entitled Carol. That's with Leroy Kirkland and the orchestra. That's another kind of band leader to look for if you're looking at 45s and you really don't know what to get. If you see Sammy Lowe, Leroy Kirkland's a good one. And, of course, Tico Wilshire is the one that I used to look for. Johnny G here on a Saturday evening. We continue here. We move into 1958 with a very rare 45. And believe it or not, I upgraded this copy. I had a trashed copy of this that, of all people who sold it to me, the Count sold the record to me. And he was giving me problems. I said, this record is wrecked. Not this copy, but the copy he had. And then I gave it to Spencer to sell, so I was able to recoup the majority. And the Count is high with his prices, and I'm talking about the 1980s dealing with him. But anyway, we want to wish the Count well, because I know he's in a wheelchair now, and still think he gets around to the record shows. He calls me from time to time, but he sold me my first copy of this. It was autographed too, by the way, but I ended up getting a cleaner copy of this rare 45 on Ben Johnson Jr.'s Chord, C-O-R-D, Chord label out of Philadelphia, PA. This group, though, is out of Reading, Pennsylvania. That's by you, Andrew, I think, Andrew Turner. And it features 13-year-old lead singer on this. His name is Walter Buster Lockman. And the group is called the Del Rays. They later would record another record, I think it's rarer than this one, on B in 1959. They recorded it as the Teen Kings. But this is their first release from 1958, the Del Rays on chord. The name of the tune is called Our Love is True. And if you could understand the words, you let Johnny G know.
Oh, lang, 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 dee, lang, dee, lang, 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 oh, my, oh, my,
Rare 45s here for a Saturday evening. Those are the Del Rays. And you just got to kind of like mumble along with the words because it's so difficult to understand the lyrics. It is, as it is on their other record too. 1958, Our Love is True, on the Chord record label. And it featured 13-year-old Walter Buster Lockman on lead. And they again are their second release in 59 called the Teen Kings. If I said the Teen Chords, the Teen Kings. And in 1967, actually, interesting thing, in 1967, the lead singer here recorded as Walter Lockman. And actually, Walter Lockman would have a release on Wand as Walter Wilson. And I think only one person had that Wand release on 45 Cat, so it must be a pretty rare record. Johnny G here on a Saturday evening. Let's continue here. We stay in Philadelphia, PA. This is a request for Joe Shacatano. This group first recorded in 1957 for NAR Records, backing up a Lynn Christie. Then with a few personnel changes in 1958, they signed with the Yeadon record label for this release as the Deckers. It features Sam Connors on lead. This is by request for Joe Shacatano, October 58. These are the Deckers on the Yeadon record label, and their tune is called Sincerely with All My Heart.
Ever since the day we met, your embrace I can't forget. Darling, I love you sincerely with all my heart. The plans, dear, we once made have suddenly you only with all my heart.
Although there'll come a time, yes, one day you'll be mine.
Though I know you're so far away.
Yes, and when you're in my arms, I'm free for all your charms. I'll love you the same way.
I'll pray, dear, for your return, and in my dreams, my heart for you yearns. Darling, I love you, yes, so sincerely, with all my
Yeah, liking that tune there in the YouTube chat room. I can't get into the Top Shelf Oldies chat room. I don't know what's going on with that. Those are the Deckers by request for Joe Shacatano. The Deckers from October 1958 on the Yeadon record label out of Philadelphia, PA. Sam Connors, he's the lead singer. Sincerely with All My Heart is the name of that one. Now, first presses of this for you collectors out there have 101-A and 101-B as the record numbers. I will flip this over so you can see how the first presses are, because somebody repressed that. And you can tell because that is the difference with the other side. Anyway, let's continue here on the Vinyl Treasure Show. Last week, I played a request for listener Josue Perez. He requested a rare girl group sound out of Philadelphia, PA, on the Red Top label. They were called the Charmiers. Josue requested the A-side I played last week. It was called A Schoolgirl in Love, which is a great ballad. Darrell Letts, he said, Johnny G, you got to play the flip side. So here it is for Darrell. This features Mitzi Ross. She's the lead singer. I found that out. John Clemente interviewed one of the lone surviving members, and they said that Mitzi Ross was the lead. This one from 1958 for Darrell. The Charmiers on Red Top. It's called You're My Lover.
I love you so.
As we cha-cha here on the Vinyl Treasure Show, the Charmiers there, Mitzi Ross. She's on lead, 1958. It's on the Red Top record label. One of the harder of 45s to find on the Red Top label. Definitely a difficult record to find. You're My Lover is the name of the tune. Hopefully you're a lover of this cool music every Saturday from 10 to 1 a.m. right here on Top Shelf Oldies and YouTube. Let's continue here. Here's a request for listener Daniel Kubaki. He requested the B-side to Johnny Maestro and the Crest's biggest hit. You know the hit. It was called 16 Candles. I actually prefer the B-side here. It was written by Billy Dawn Smith and Bert Keys. By request for Daniel Kubaki, December 58. The Crests on Coed with a B-side. It's called Beside You.
We're beside you. Oh, beside you. Oh, beside you. Oh, my
love. Beside you. Beside you. Is a love forever true. Beside you. Beside you is a chance for love anew. Here's a heart that longs to remain beside you, beside you. To guide you, my love. Beside you, beside you, are the arms that long to be beside you. Beside you, to caress you tenderly. Please take a chance on a lasting romance. Say there'll never be no one else but me. Beside you, my love.
beside you.
B-sides here on the Vinyl Treasure Show. Those are the Crests. Johnny Maestro and the Crests, the B-side to 16 Candles, song entitled Beside You. And that's a by request for Daniel Kubaki. Now, for you collectors out there, if you own this record and flip over your 16 Candles, and what does your music publishing say? If it says Coronation Music as the publisher, you have a true first press before Dick Clark muddied his hands into the publishing and said, well, you know, Johnny, if I play your record, you got to give me a cut of the pay here, and you're going to put my January publishing on the label. So I want to get make some money on your record. So if yours says January Music, that's when Dick Clark put his hands in the till. So first press is on Coronation Music. I'll show you what mine is. We'll see what it is. It's a surprise. Let's continue here on the Vinyl Treasure Show. And up next is a sound of the season, that being the summer season. It's a request for George Tompkins. This group consisted of William Spann, Gerald and William Valentine, Earl Polite, and Norman Grayson and Andy Brooks. Collectively, they were called the Pals. Now, the first presses of this came out on the Turf label in August of 58 originally. Then a year later, Guidon Records put it out. And you know Johnny G is a completist. I'll show you the Guidon copy, which I have here. But this is by request for George, August 58, the Pals on Turf. And their tune is called Summer is Here.
Summer is here. Buzz call the bees. The wind seems to whisper all through the trees. Summer is here. There is love in our hearts. Love in our hearts. Patiently we've waited all through the year. Everyone's happy and full of cheer. Summer is here. There is love in our hearts. The weather is warm. The days are so long. We'll be sad when it's gone. We were so happy when it began, but like all seasons, it has to end. Summer, yes, summer is in everyone's heart. The weather is warm, the days are so long. We'll be sad when it's gone. We are so happy when it began, but like all seasons, it has to end. Summer, yes, summer is in everyone's heart.
As by request for George Tompkins there, those are the Pals. The Pals from August 1958 on the Turf record label. Summer is here. And yes, it is. Summer definitely is here. I have to turn this AC on. It's starting to get hot up here in the attic. Let's continue here. We are in the year 1958. We go back to Philadelphia with a request for listener Amnon. He requested the final Atco release for a group called The Sensation, Yvonne Mills and The Sensation. This is their sixth release on the Atco label, and it's a cover song. This was first done by Lil Green for RCA Records back in 1940. This one from April 58. These are The Sensations going out to Amnon on Atco. It's called their rendition of the tune Romance in the Dark.
It's just the beat of my poor heart in the dark. Now in the dark I get such a thrill when he presses his fingertips upon my lips, and he begs me to please keep still. soon this day will be ended, and you know you're going to be missed. Gee, but I'm not pretending, 'cause I swear that it's fun. It's fun to be kissed in the dark. Now we will find what the rest have left, what the rest have left behind. Just let them dance. We're gonna find romance here in the dark.
Yes, George, the 4 Tons of Joy. They did cover that song, originally done by Little Greenwood back in 1940 on RCA Records. Actually, she gets writer credit on this. This is a request for Amnon, the Sensation, Yvonne Mills and the Sensations, April 1958. That's their last release on the Atco label, their rendition of Romance in the Dark. And Yvonne, she would leave the industry after this release. She got married, she raised a couple kids, then she returned. She didn't want to, but they coaxed her out. She returned in 1961 as Yvonne Baker and the Sensations, and that was chapter 2 of her recording career. And she's got a lot of cool records, lots of soul records that go for some big bucks. She's got a big one on the Parkway record label that I have featured on my All 60's show. Very expensive 45. Johnny G here on a Saturday evening. We count down the music chronologically here. We are in the year 1958 now. We head out to the West Coast, to the Oakland Bay area for a request for listener Nick Nicola. This is on Don Barksdale's Jody record label. It's a subsidiary of his Rhythm Records. Lots of great records on Rhythm and Jody Records. But this group is from Pittsburgh, California. And isn't it interesting, or I guess a coincidence, that in 1961 another group from Pittsburgh, but Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, would be called the same group, that being the Marcells. This group of Marcells are backing up a singer by the name of Bob Jeffries, who co-wrote this tune. So this is a rare 45 by request for Nick. 1958, Bob Jeffries and the Marcells on Jody. The tune is called Take Me Back.
Darling, I love you. Take me back in your heart where I belong. Give me one more chance to prove I love you. Oh, I want you. I need you. Honest, I do. don't let me go. Give me one more chance to prove I love you. Oh, I want you. I need you. Honest, I do.
Take me back. I love you.
That's from 1958 by request for Nick Nicola, Bob Jeffries and the Marcells, a rare 45 on the Jody record label. Don Barksdale, the basketball player, the 1950s basketball player, he was into music. He owned a radio station. I think WKBR, I think, was the station. Or maybe I messed that up. That's on his Jody label, Take Me Back. And the flip side is the Marcells. They do a tune called Betty Lou. Johnny G spinning your requests every Saturday here on the Vinyl Treasure Show as we stay in California with a request for Joe Shacatano. He requested The Valiants, best known for their biggest hit from late 1957, a 45 that my aunt purchased back then called This Is the Night. But Joe requested their fourth release on the Keen record label, although for you collectors, this was first pressed on the Andex label. Charlene says to me, Johnny, I have an issue that Ferdy Gonzalez says that the first press of this is on Andex. And I said, well, wait a minute, because Andex and Keen and Ensign, I think those three labels, they shared the same numbering sequence because all these guys combined all their companies. And I said, well, wait a minute. So I checked PopPsych. I said, holy cow, I've never seen a copy of this on the Andex label. And they use the same number, 4026. But I have a promo of this on the White Keen. It's a White Keen promo. But I like this tune by request for Joe Shacatano. And I forgot to mention that the song was written by someone by the name of Billy Jones, which was... wait, what did I write here? Yeah, the song written by Billy Jones, which was an alias. And he had other alias names too, as like Billy Fortune, but we all know him as Billy Storm. But believe it or not, his real name is Billy Spicer. So by request for Joe Shacatano, let's give a listen to The Valiants with Billy Storm. That's how I know him. Billy Storm on lead, October 58 on Keen. It's called Please Wait, My Love. Going out to Joe.
My parents say I'm too young to do the things I'd like to. But if you wait for me, my love, we'll be together forever. Embarrassed by my friends. Girls say I'm cute, but I'm a shut-in. But if you wait for me, my love, we'll be together forever. Oh, when I'm a little older, just a wee bit bolder, I'll have your love. Whoa, when our love is known and they feel we've grown, we'll change from 2 to 1. Oh, I'm embarrassed by my friend.
That's the great Billy Storm and the Valiants by request for Joe Shacatano. What a great tune that is. Please Wait, My Love, June 1958. No. Sorry, that one's October 1958 on the Keen record label. It originally came out on Index. I gotta look for it on the Index label. Johnny G here, spinning 45s. Let's continue here. Now, last week I played a request for Matey Campboy. I haven't heard from Matey this week. I think she had something to do because that's happened to her before. So I actually sent her an email, but she must be busy. But I played a request for Matey Campboy last week. She requested the Chantels, the B-side to their third release on George Gollner's End label, song entitled Whoever You Are, and it was listener Darrell Letts. He asked me to play the A-side. This one charted nationally. This was a number 39 record on Billboard, number 32 on Cashbox. It was a number 19 record on WCOP. If you were listening in Boston, Massachusetts, it features Arlene Smith on lead, going out to Darrell, February 58th. The Chantels on End with Every Night. That's Arlene Smith and the Chantels by request for Darrell Letts. February 1958 release. It's on George Gollner's End record label, Every Night. The full title is Every Night, parentheses, I Pray. That's my cleanest copy of that record. I have a East Coast copy. I like the East Coast copy looking Heralds and Embers and End records and Gone records, because the West Coast copies, the Monarch presses, they have those single lines. It's like, you know, I don't like it, but I do like the West Coast VJs and the West Coast Chess. They're pretty nice vinyl presses of those. So if you're a collector, I know a lot of people, I think I know somebody who collected VJ promos and anything on Cub. Lots of oddball collectors out there. Johnny G's an oddball collector, that's for sure. Let's continue here on the Vinyl Treasure Show. We continue with the requests. Here's another for listener Emnon. He requested this great group out of Washington, D.C., first signing with Atlantic Records back in 1951. Had a total of 22 releases before they left Atlantic in January of 58, where they signed with Lou Krevitz's Poplar label out of New York City for 2 releases. Amnon requested their first, and it features Billy Mitchell on lead, going out to listener Amnon, June 58. These are the Clovers on Poplar with Billy Mitchell on lead. It's called Please Come... Wait. says, "Please Come On to Me" for Amnon.
Please come to me when other lips no longer kiss, when other arms don't give you bliss, to kiss again, to love again. Please come on to me, please come to me when darkness brings you loneliness. Come, let me give you some happiness, to kiss again, to love again. Please come to me. Don't be afraid to let me know when things go wrong with you. For now I know that I need you so. Without you, what can I do? Please come to me when misery brings you loneliness. There's still a chance over you and I to kiss again, to love again. Please come on to me. Oh baby, please baby, whoa, baby, come to me.
There's got to be a typo in the. There's got to be a typo in the title here, because he's singing "Please Come to Me," but the title says "Please Come On to Me." That's completely two different meanings, don't you think? Anyway, that's by request for Amnon, the Great Clovers there. Billy Mitchell and the Clovers, June 1958, on the Poplar record label, Please Come to Me. Billy Mitchell, I think he's got a solo or a couple solo records, or maybe one, on this Poplar record label. But the label owner here, Luke Krevitz, he sold the masters of the Poplar label to United Artists, and he became United Artists national sales manager. And then, of course, the Clovers went with him, and that's how they ended up on United Artists in the early 1960s. Johnny G here on a Saturday evening as we continue here. And last week I played a request for Nick Nicola, Rare 45, by a group called the Contenders, and it featured the lead of Clifford Curry. Now, someone on Facebook, I normally post a whole bunch of records, maybe usually between 10 to 15 records that I'm going to feature on the show. So somebody was asking me questions about Clifford Curry, that he didn't know that he sang with this group. So somebody makes a comment, well, that's not Clifford Curry. There's a dash between the name. It's not Clifford Curry. I said, well, then who is it? It says featuring Clifford Curry. He goes, but they wouldn't put a dash on it, like Lennon and McCarthy. I said, no, it's not. That is completely different. Do you read up on this group and the historians? That Clifford Curry, he's from Tennessee. I think, from Tennessee. He was in a group called the Five Pennies, on lead with Mr. Moon. Then he ended up on the NASCO label with a group called the Hollyhocks. I forget what the name of the release was. And then he ended up with this group. And just because there was a dash there doesn't. Who's Clifford dash? It's Clifford Curry. And he insisted. I said, if you go to Marv Goldberg's site, and then there was another site that I gave him. I said, and he was insisting that it wasn't him, but it is him. And he's also on the flip side here, as he wrote the flip side of this record. It's from November of 1958. These are the Contenders with Clifford Curry on lead on the Blue Sky record label. It's called Yes, I Do.
Yes, Tell me, pretty baby, do you still love me? Ooh-wee. Tell me, pretty baby, do you still love me? I wanna know, pretty baby, are you thinking of me? Well, when you're alone at night, do you think of me? Ooh, when you're alone at night, do you think of me? I'm coming home to you, baby, just you wait and see. Well, 'cause I love you. Oh, how I miss you. Ooh, I want you. Ooh, I need you, baby. Got to have you, pretty baby. No one else will do. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Ow, yeah. I love you. Yes, I do. Oh, how I miss you. Yes, I do. I need you. Yes, I do. I want you. Yes, I do. Got to have you, pretty baby. No one else will do. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I had to go across the sea, but you're still in my heart. Ooh, I had to go across the sea, but you're still in my heart. But I'll be home to love you, and we will never part.
November 1958 release there, The Contenders. Clifford Curry, he's on lead there, and that one on the Blue Sky record label, Rare 45. Yes, I Do. The flip side of Mr. DJ. That was the side that Nick Nicola requested last week. And in 1964, he went solo, I think on Excello Records. He's got a couple on Excello. He also has some 60s soul releases on Elf, SSS International, and other labels well into the 1970s, until he passed away. He was singing up, and I think Dave the Rave actually interviewed him too, if I'm not mistaken, on his Relics and Rarities show. Anyway, Johnny G here on a Saturday evening. We continue here. We are in the year 1959 now, and we fill a request for listener, coughing here, for Nat Papagallo, listening in Naples, Florida, and after the Flamingos left Decca Records, where they experienced no hits, they found a winning combination when they signed with George Goldner's N record label, and I think their biggest national hit would have had to have been their rendition of I Only Have Eyes for You. That was number 11 on the Billboard Hot 100, but they followed it up with Nat's Request, which did not do as well, because this only made it up to 88 on Billboard, did a lot better on Cashbox, number 54, but it was a number 9 record out in California, San Francisco, California, on KYA. The number 9 record there. It features dual leads here, Terry Johnson and Paul Wilson, and this is by request for Nat. I hope I don't get a copyright strike on this, but it's from March of 1959, going out to Nat. The Flamingos on End with their tune called Love Walked In.
Right in and drove the shadows
As by request for Nat Papagallo, March 1959 release by the Flamingos on the N record label. Terry Johnson, Paul Wilson, dual leads there with Love Walked In. As we continue here, we are in the year 1959. Now, last week I played a duet out of California on Jake Porter's Combo label. They were Darwin and Juanita, a.k.a. Darwin Jackson and Juanita Manley. I featured the intended B-side. It was called Rendezvous. It was a nice ballad, a song they wrote. It was listener Lino. He asked Johnny G if I could play the flip side, which is the intended A-side, which is another song they wrote, kind of like a Gene and Eunice type tune here. So we're going to send this one out to Lino, June 1959, Darwin and Juanita on the Combo label. It's called Baby, Baby. Sort of like a Mickey and Sylvia sound. That's by request for Lino. That's Darwin and Juanita, June 1959 on Jake Porter's Combo Records out of Hollywood, California. Baby, Baby is the name of the tune. We are in the year 1959. We continue in 59 with a request of here for George Tompkins. Now, the interesting thing about this record, so I'm attending high school and I take the long way home. This is back maybe 1974, 73, 74. So I say I'm going to take, and I would walk from the high school I attended, Sleepy Hollow High School, which was in North Terrytown. You would walk to Terrytown, and I would take the long way. And we had a thrift shop. I think they would sponsored by the hospital, the hospital in North Terrytown. So I walk in and I say, do you have any 45? She goes, well, we get them in from time to time. They're in the back. They're 25 cents each. So I go in the back there and I'm looking through the 45s and I see this record on, and I know at the time I know nothing. I'm listening to, the Time Capsule Show. I'm listening to the R&B Review. I'm listening to all these cool, collector shows and Norman Knight, etc. I think even Murray the K was on back then, if I'm not mistaken. He came back to radio. So I see this record on the Symbol label, and I was looking for groups. So I says, "What is this record?" This record by Jesse Johnson. So, I buy it. I know nothing about it, and I know nothing about this artist. So, anyway, I keep it in my collection for years and years and years. And lo and behold, George Tompkins requests this record by Jesse Johnson. It's on Juggy Murray's Symbol record label. And I always thought and I didn't know who the group was, but it's on a subsidiary of Sue Records, Symbol Records, an uncredited group. So I don't know who they are, but actually this record did do well in some places. It was a number 12 record on KWBR. That's the station that Don Barksdale owned, KWBR out of Oakland, California. So this is a request for George Tompkins, and this is my copy that I got for 25 cents at the Cherry Door thrift shop, which is still around, by the way. It's from January 59, Jesse Johnson and group on the Symbol label, going out to George. It's called So Loved Am I.
As I love, so loved am I. My love will linger as time goes by. I know to love there is no end. Love, 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 oh, 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 what a thrill. Makes my heart sing like the whippoorwills. To love there is no end. I'll keep my love light burning in each corner of my heart. I'll send love beams to everyone.
As by request for George Tompkins, a great record. I love that record. Jesse Johnson and a group from January 59 on the Symbol label, So Loved Am I. I'm so ecstatic that I have a stock and I have a promo, and I prefer the promos because they play a little better. They're made for more durability, I think. But anyway, that's what I say. That's a cool tune. Thank you for requesting that, George, as we continue here on the Vinyl Treasure Show. Now, last week I played a request for Nick Nicola. He requested the Monarchs, a rare 45 on the Liban record label out of Cleveland, Ohio. Nick requested side 1. It was called Love You, That's Why, a killer ballad. And of course, Daryl Letts, he likes those up-tempos. He requested side 2. This one from 1959, the Monarchs on Liban. It's the B-side. It's called Coming Home.
I'm coming home to stay. I'm coming home. I'll be there right away. I said, take it easy, baby. Don't you be alarmed. Daddy's on his way. Won't do you no harm. On my way, I said, almost there, I said, now, hey, Jeb, man, I'm coming home. I said, I'm coming home. I'm coming home to stay. I'm coming home. I'll be there right away. I'm coming home. I'm coming home to stay.
B-sides here on the Vinyl Treasure Show by request for Darrell Letts, the Monarchs from 1959. That's the flip side to Love You, That's Why. It's called Coming Home. That one there on the Liban record label out of Cleveland, Ohio. Darrell got a lot of B-sides tonight as we continue here on the Vinyl Treasure Show. And speaking of Nick Nicola that requested last week, the Monarchs, he requested another rare 45 here on the Ace label. Now, not Johnny Vincent's Ace Records out of Mississippi. This is the Ace label out of New York. And the group is called the Sharp Tones, and not the Sharp Tones that recorded on the Post record label. They were from the West Coast. I'm guessing this group is from New York. It's a rare 45 by request for Nick. The Sharp Tones from March 1959. Ace Records. It's called I'll Always Remember.
School's almost over. Soon you'll be free. Gee, how happy I will be, 'cause the memory still lingers of the fun we had last June through September, 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 September. Those were the best days of all. That's when we had our circle ball. That's why I shall always remember June through September. We'll picnic, we'll swim and we'll dance. We'll have a happy romance. Together, my darling, this summer we'll spend. Like always, darling, the summer it must end. And then school will open, then you'll be gone. But I'll still have memories to linger on. Oh yes, I shall always remember June through September.
They're called the Sharp Tones there by request for Nick Nicola. March 1959 release on the Ace record label. It's another rare 45. It's called I'll Always Remember. And that is a very cool tune. I like that tune. We continue here. We are in 1959. Another 45 I played last week was by Sonny Fulton and the Mixmasters, requested by George. They were out of Philadelphia. And this is on the Sunbeam label, which was out of New York. And George requested the side called Fingerprints. And I think both Darrell and George asked to flip this 45 over, so we're going to give it a spin here before we file it back down in the no humidity basement. This was the intended A-side. February 59, it's Sunbeam Records out of New York. It's Sonny Fulton and the Mixmasters. It's called No, Not Now.
He said no, not now. He said no,
Scratches and all. That's by request for Daryl and George. That's the intended A-side. Sonny Fulton and the Mixmasters, February 1959 on Sunbeam Records. No, Not Now is the name of the tune. As we continue here, we move into 1960 now. And actually, this is a request for Nat Papagallo. I had this in my box for a long time to play for Nat, and it's but I have to apologize in advance the sound quality of this song, because it's not that good, and I don't know if the 78 needle would make it sound any better. I don't know, Mark, maybe. What do you think, Mark Goldfarb, if the 78 needle might make it sound better? But it's one of those West Coast presses. I don't know if this is like hand pressed or what, but it's out of Oakland. A lot of those records out of Oakland, they just don't sound well. That's the way they were pressed. But I have two different versions of this, and this copy that I'm featuring was my first copy. It's on the yellow label Luck Records, which is one of those Oakland labels. It's by Maury Williams and the Kids, and they had a prior release in 1958 on the TV and also on the Carlton label, Are You My Girlfriend, which is a pretty cool tune. But I think this is much rarer than that. It's on the Luck label, also out of Oakland, California. Now, this copy I think I bought out of Jeff when Jeff Beckman was selling his collection. Then I had another copy which is a different version, and I got it from somebody down in Louisiana. I won it in an eBay auction. And then I have the maroon copy, which I think is one of the two, but we'll listen a little bit to the other one so you can hear the difference. But I like this version better, and I'll play a little bit of the other version and you can tell. But it's by request for Nat Papagallo. It's from October 1960, Luck Records, Maury Williams and the Kids. It's called Time Runs Out. Now there's a lot of background noise in this, and the record looks clean, I will tell you that much. But here it is. Time Runs Out, going out to Nat. Wait, you hear that? You hear that noise? Ah.
Time
Okay, that is by request for Nat Papagallo. That's from October 1960. Maury Williams and the Kids on the Luck label. Time runs out. Let's hear a little bit of the Maroon and see if it plays the same or is the same song, which I think it is. Let's see. Here it is. The Maroon label. Sounds like the same song.
Time runs out, love is hard to find.
You agree this is the same song? I think that's the same. Now listen to this. All right, now listen to this. Now listen to this version. This is a different version. Both sides are different. This is the other version.
Time runs out. Love is hard to find. Time runs out. Love is hard to find. I hope and I pray, darling, you'll be mine, 'cause I love you. Oh, and time runs out. Oh, time began when I first met you, dear. Time after I said you are my future, dear, 'cause I love and time runs out. Time began when I first met you, dear. I often said you are my future, dear, 'cause I love and time runs out.
That's a very different version, I have to say, and they're different matrix numbers. And the dead wax, this is wider space here on the dead wax on this. I got this from one of the big guys that sells down south. It was a long time ago, though, and I didn't win it for that much. I think it was a couple $100, maybe because he put down the condition. The condition is mint, but it plays crappy, and that's how it was pressed. The grooves are real close together. But anyway, that's the other version, and it must be pretty rare 45, because I don't think that version, this one, is around as much as the other one, because the other one is the maroon label, and I had it on the yellow label and maroon. So anyway, Johnny G Complete is here. Let's continue here. So I gotta get these requests in. And another 45 I played last week was by the Stylists, a request for George Tompkins on Al Brown's Rose record label. The song was called One Room. I think it was you, Nick, that mentioned that the flip side is pretty good too. We should give it a spin, so we're going to do that right now. This one here on the Rose record label from 1960. Rudy Cooper, he's the lead singer. These are the Stylists on Rose with I Wonder.
I wonder who's loving you. Wonder
request for Nick Nicola there, those are the Stylists, 1960, I Wonder. A nice up-tempo there on the Rose record label, Al Brown and the band there backing up the Stylists. Let's continue here, and we are in 1960, and here's another request. This is Sound of the Season, and this is a request for George as we head to Detroit, Michigan for an early side by the Four Tops. Now, remember Ronaldo Obi Benson, he was drafted into the Army. The Four Tops were looking for someone to fill in, so they found ex-Serenaders lead singer Theron Hill to fill in, and he did lead on this tune by request for George Tompkins, July 1960. These are the Four Tops on Columbia with their tune called Lonely Summer.
It will be a lonely summer when you go on your vacation, and I'll be so lost without you until the day you return. About you, and for your kisses I'll yearn. So darling, won't you promise me you'll be a little lonesome too, though it will be a lonely summer. Will you still be mine when the summer is gone? When the summer is gone.
As by request for George Tompkins there, those are the Four Tops. The Four Tops, but not with Levi Stubbs on lead. That is Theron Hill on lead. July 1960 on the Columbia label, Lonely Summer. I have to check. I have the Columbia re-released it. This is a promo. I have a stock copy with the different numbers, a 64 release, and Nick Nicola mentions might be a different cut. So I will check that out. Johnny G here on a Saturday evening, spinning original vinyl 45s. Hope you're digging on the tunes. Maybe you heard something for the first time. That is my goal. But let's continue here now on last week's show. I played a request for Tom Shaughnessy. He requested the Explorers, group out of Brooklyn, New York. He requested the B-side to their second of three on the Coral label, In the Wee Small Hours of the Morning. It was just listener Darrell Etz asked Johnny G to flip it over, give a listen to the A-side. It features Dennis Lowell on leads. This is going out to Darrell, February 1960, the Explorers on Coral, and they're saying, "Don't be a fool." That's another one of Daryl's flip sides, the Explorers there, with Dennis Lowell on lead, February 1960. That's their second of 3 on the Coral record banner, Don't Be a Fool. Johnny G ain't no fool, not on a Saturday night from 10 to 1 a.m. here. Going to be a little bit of overtime, as you know, but let's continue here with another request. Last week was for Nick Nicola. Actually requested both sides of this 45. Got to ask Brian Korn, do you find a lot of these records on the Sarah record label out of Sauk City, Wisconsin? This one by the Twilighters. Nick requested both sides. Last week I played the A side. It was called Can't You Stay a Little Longer. We're going to flip it over here and send it out to Nick. There were only 500 copies of this were pressed, so they get destroyed, they get thrown out, they get lost, they get broken, and they disappear. So there's not many, although I was lucky when Spence found this nice mint copy for me. This one from July 61 by request for Nick, the Twilighters on Sarah. It's called Restless Love.
I have traveled from city to town. Restless love inside of me. Let me settle down. I've been east, I've been west, but my mind won't let me rest until I get my restless love into your heart. Just a restless love searching for a restless heart. Well, I have traveled widely from city to town. Restless love inside of me won't let me settle down. See many faces from beggars to kings, many places, and try a million things. I've been north, I've been south, asking folks by word of mouth to help me get my restless love into your heart. Well, darling, say you love me just like I love you. Just keep thinking of me, and my search will soon be through. Then I'll be yours, you'll be mine. I'll be on the end of time if you will let my restless love into your heart. Just a restless love searching for a restless heart.
That's a nice tune there by request for Nick Nicola there. Those are the Twilighters, July 1961. Restless Love is the name of the tune. Came out on the Sarah label out of Sauk City, Wisconsin. Wow. Let's move on here on the Vinyl Treasure Show. We are in the year 1961. I have no information on this next group. Amnon, if you do, please let Johnny G know, but it's a request for George, a vocal quintet known as the Metro Chords. Metro Chords, this is the intended A-side of their release on the Admiral label. The writer credit is Matthews Berry, and it's a Foch Allen production, whatever that means. So by request for George, I remember buying this from Chris Ciccone, who unfortunately passed away. I was saddened to hear about that. But this one from April 1961, the Metro Chords on Admiral. It's called It's a Shame, going out to George.
Please let me tell you a little story about a girl
told her that I loved her. She threw my heart and soul, but it's such a shame, oh, a shame to be all alone. We could be so happy with her by my side. I promise to love her, oh yeah, till time itself passes by. She's over there, but I don't care. For pretty soon she'll be over here, but it's such a shame, oh, a shame to be all alone. Oh, such a shame, such a shame. Oh, such a shame.
They're called the Metro Chords by request for George. The Metro Chords there on the Admiral record label, April 61. It's a Shame is the name of that tune. Johnny G Ain't a Shame every Saturday from 10 to 1 a.m. here on the Vinyl Treasure Show as we continue here. We are in 1961, and here's a request for listener Amnon, and this is a trio out of Brooklyn, New York. Initially, they had 2 releases on the New York City-based studio label. They actually have a pretty popular Christmas song called Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. They followed it up with 2 more releases on Clark Galehouse's Shelley label out of Long Island, and Shelley also of Shelley Products. Cheap vinyl, that's what I say. And the Shelley record pressing plant, all that crappy styrene stuff, cheap press. But Amnon requested their first of 2. It features Bobby Rogers on lead. So by request for Amnon, this one from June 61, they're called the Mellow Deers. Mellow Deers on Shelley, and their tune is called The Letter.
Tears in my eyes.
As by request for Amnon, the Melodiers, June 61. On the Shelley label, The Letter is the name of the tune. Bobby Rogers on lead for that one. We continue here. Now, last week I played a request for George Tompkins on Aki Alliong's Trans-American label. It was by Will Wendell and the Actones. It was called Lover. That was the ballad side, which was the intended B-side, by the way. But let's give a spin to the A-side before this one goes back down in the no humidity basement, and we'll send it out to Bip Bop Boom. He wants to have a little bit of up-tempo. We're going to give another up-tempo sound here from Will Wendell and the Actones. This is from April 62. We move into 62 on the Trans-American record label. It's called Lonely Blue Boy.
Bip bom, bom ni bip bom, bom ni bip bom, bom ni bip bom.
Just call me Artie.
Bip bom,
sad as can
bom,
be.
Bom ni
oh yeah, no one to call now. Want to help for me now. Oh, I'm lonely, lonely blue boy, lonely blue boy. I'm a lonely blue boy. Yeah, yeah. Now send me something. Oh yeah, someone to hold in hand and to dream of. Yeah, yeah. I'm lonely, lonely blue boy, lonely blue boy. I'm a lonely blue boy. Maybe my dreams won't haunt me. Maybe someone could care. Maybe someone would want me. But who on earth would care? Oh, I'm lonely, lonely blue boy, lonely blue boy. I'm a lonely blue boy. Yeah, yeah. Now send me now, send me now, send me now. Someone to love me now, love me now, love me now. Someone to hold me now, hold me now, hold me now. Someone who wants me now, wants me now. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Lonely
April 62 release there for Will Wendell and the Actones. It's on Aki Alliong's Trans-American label. That one there out of California, Lonely Blue Boy. I first heard that. Ronnie I, well, I don't know. They're not supposed to know that those Ronnie I CDs, what were they called? Doo-wop volumes from Germany, I guess. Anyway, but that's where I first heard that song. But speaking of Aki Alliong, this next 45, I was showing you the label. It's a test press, and it was destined to be released on, I think it's either his Trans-American label or his Pan World label. He owned both those labels, but Aki Alliong had a number of releases on different labels, Reprise and VJ Records, to name a few. But this is by Aki and the Actones, and it's Aki Alliong on lead. So this never was released. Jerry Diaz sold me this. I don't know if he got it as part of the Dobard load or whatever, but it's kind of a one-of-a-kind record, probably used as a demo, so it never came out. So I should probably talk over this, because this is probably, nobody has this record. I'm guessing it's from 61 or 62, and I'm guessing it's on Trans-American. It's Aki and the Actones, and this side, which has the two X's on it, was the A side. It's called Waited for You. So this is probably the first time here for many of you, if not all of you. Let's give it a spin.
Waiting for you, I'm so lonely. Waited for you for so long, hoping that you will come back, real soon. Oh, you make me feel so blue, dear. Why did you go away? Now I will be so lonely without you by my side. Why did you go and leave me? Why did you treat me this way? But and pray that you'll come back to stay. Oh, I waited for you, I'm so lonely. Waited for you for so long, hoping that you will come back, come back real soon.
That's Aki Aliong and the Actones. 61 or 62, destined to be released on the Trans-American record label, but it never really made it out. That is I guess the intended A-side. Waited Too Long is the name of the tune. Johnny G, not waiting too long. We are in Vinyl Treasure Overtime here, and I'm on the last page here. Got to get to some requests here, and we go to Detroit, Michigan for this request for Tom Shaughnessy, female lead with a male backing. This is on the Lupine record label out of, is it Owasso, Michigan. I think that is where Lupine Records was located. Robert West, he owned the label. He also co-wrote this. It's with Sax Carey and the orchestra, and it's a female lead. Her name is Ella Reed. This one from 1962, probably June 62, by request for Tom Shaughnessy. They're called The Conquerors. The Conquerors on Lupine. It's called Bill Is My Boyfriend.
I go the sing-a-ling-a-ling-a-ling-a-ling-a-bing-a-bing-ting-a-ling-a-boom-boom-boom.
Billy is my boyfriend. He makes me feel so big. He's the only boyfriend that makes me feel that way. When Billy kisses me, he makes my heart go boing.
That's on the Lupine record label by request for Tom Shaughnessy. They're called The Conquerors. The Conquerors from 62. Bill is my boyfriend. Although she's singing Billy is my boyfriend. Ella Reed, she's the lead singer on that. We continue. Here we are go back to California, Los Angeles, California, with a request for Nick Nicola. This group first started singing gospel in New Orleans as the Arpeggios. They relocated out to Los Angeles, California, and had one release on the Aladdin label as the Arrows. That was back in 1958, but then they changed their name to back to the Arpeggios and recorded a few demos, and then this demo eventually made it on to Fats Washington's Moving record label, and then they changed their name from the Arpeggios to the Convincers for this release. And it's a request for Nick Nicola. It features Willie Gibson on lead. This one from March of 1962. These are the Convincers on Movin'. Going out to Nick, it's called Rejected Love.
Boom, 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 boom.
You spurned my love. You broke my heart, heart, heart. You spurned my love. You broke my heart, heart, heart. You spurned my love. You broke my heart, heart, heart. You spurned my love. You broke my heart, heart, heart.
When you spurned my love, you broke my heart. Only heaven above knows how it did start.
Darling, please set my heart. Whoa,
If you do something for me,
can't you see what you've done to me? I'm nothing but your clown. Life is drear without you. Can I do without you?
the sun was clearer, and only when you knew.
Once you said you loved me, and you settled down just to kiss and hug me, not to run around. So don't be deceived, only believe I love you.
I love you. You spurned my love. You broke my heart, heart, heart. You spurned my love. You broke my heart, heart, heart. You spurned my love. You broke my heart, heart, heart. You spurned my love. You broke my heart, heart, heart.
Sounds of California here on the Vinyl Treasure Show by request for Nick Nicole, a rare 45 by the Convincers from March 1962 on the Movin' record label. Rejected Love is the name of the tune. Willie Gibson, he's the lead singer. This group would have one more release on the Aries label as the Arpeggios, which is unintentional misspelling of their name. The song was called I'll Be Singing. That's what Charlene has there. Thank you, Charlene, for that. Johnny G here. We are in Vinyl Treasure Overtime. Let's go back to a request for Tom Shaughnessy. This group out of Brooklyn, New York, their debut 45 came out on the Musictron label in 61. They followed it up with this tune on the JJ&M record label. It's actually a cover. This song was first recorded in 1959 on the Capitol record label by the Fascinators. Tony Pasalacqua and the Fascinators did this first. This is a cover from May 62. These are the Enchanters with Mike Seltzer on lead. Going out to Tom. It's their version of the tune Oh Rosemary.
Oh, Rosemary, please won't you try to give your life
listen to plea. On what you do, my life depends. And with your answer, love starts or ends.
Cover tunes here on the Vinyl Treasure Show by request. For Tom Shaughnessy, May 62, the Enchanters version of Oh Rose Marie came out on the JJ&M record label. Mike Seltzer, he's the lead singer on that one. Let's get these few more in here before we shut down here on the Vinyl Treasure Show. This is probably the rarest 45 on the Guidon record label out of Philadelphia, PA, and it's a request for George Tompkins. I know nothing about this group, though, so I am none. If you have any information on this group, they're called the Pacers. These are the Pacers from May 1962. Very rare 45 on the Guidon label. Going out to George. It's called How Sweet.
How sweet.
How sweet. Whoa, how sweet. How sweet can you be? Little angels, I'm sure. How sweet can one be? You mean the world, and all to me, you're most precious of maidens, and God is above you, I am sure. Oh, could I hate you? And darling, I never will. I love you.
And I always will.
Oh, how sweet can you be? You mean the world, and all to me. You're the queen of my kingdom, one of God's little angels, I'm sure.
How sweet.
How sweet.
As by request for George Tompkins, their very rare record on the Guidon label. The Pacers there with How Sweet, May 1962. I think Evan Blatt requested the flip. So we'll play the flip next week for Evan. As we continue here. Now, last week I played a request for Tom Shaughnessy. He requested the Possessions, a group out of Philadelphia. I played the A side of their 45, No More Love. Originally came out on the Britain label. And let's give a listen to the B side here before we file it back down in the No Humidity basement. And this later on came out on Parkway Records, but I'm featuring the first press on Britain. I have it like on blue vinyl. I think Fred Clemens said he has his on red vinyl, which is probably rarer than this. But let's give it a spin here. August 64, The Possessions on Britain. It's called You and Your Lies. B-sides here on the Vinyl Treasure Show. Those are the Possessions. August 64 on the Britain record label. You can get it on the Parkway label, You and Your Lies. Last week I featured the A side of that, No More Love. We continue here now. Last week I played a one for George Tompkins, actually, and Evan Blatt. They both requested the Cameos, a group out of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Featured the side called Can You Remember? It was George that said, Johnny G, got to play the flip side of this, so we're going to send this one out to George. It features Donald Carter on lead. This one from December 1963 on the GG record label. The Cameos, going out to George. Song entitled He, H-E, He.
As he made someone for me. Someone for me.
Those are the Cameos. A nice tune there by request for George Tompkins. The Cameos, December 63 on the GG record label. It's just called He. Yes, that's a cool tune. Johnny G here with a few more 45s to go. We got 1, 2, 3 more 45s to go before we sign off here. And here is a request for listener Cheryl Morgan. Haven't played one for her in a while as we head to Chicago, Illinois for this artist, but he was the lead singer of a group called the Duquets. His real name is Eugene Dixon, but many of you know him as Gene Chandler, and he has some cool solo releases on many different labels: VJ Records, Constellation, Checker, Brunswick, and Mercury. But here's one on VJ, and it says vocal background by Cal Carter and Friends, and this is really an answer tune to Mary Wells' You Beat Me to the Punch. This charted number 49 on Billboard, 60 on Cashbox, was a number 7 record on KXLW in St. Louis, Missouri. This is by request for Cheryl Morgan, October 62. Gene Chandler on VJ, and his tune called You Threw a Lucky Punch.
That day, oh yeah, when you walk away, I wanted to call you back, but I didn't know what to say. But when you said you had to part, something hit me all at once. Love walked right in and caught me by surprise, 'cause you threw a lucky punch. Little girl, you threw a lucky punch. That's right, you threw a lucky punch. Oh, 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 oh. Baby, baby, when I saw you, for the very first time, I wanted to love you and leave you behind until you put me down. I had won every round, but something hit me all at once. Girl, I never thought you would open my doors, but you threw a lucky punch. Little girl, you threw a lucky punch. Oh, 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 oh. You threw a lucky punch. Since I love you, let me prove my love is true and love you tender. Oh please, baby, surrender. I've been a playboy, it's true, but I'm hanging up my heart for you. So I guess I'll wait around, tears falling down, hoping you change your heart and realize I need you by my side, 'cause you threw a lucky punch. Little girl, you hit me in my heart. That's right, come on, it was a TKO. You made me love you so. You hit me left, right, left, knocked me down, oh girl. Your love is so bad to me.
As by request for Cheryl Morgan, they're the great Gene Chandler, October 1962. That's the answer tune to Mary Wells' You Beat Me to the Punch. It's called You Threw a Lucky Punch. That one there on Vivian Carter's VJ record label. Let's continue here. 2 more 45s to go before we sign off here on the Vinyl Treasure Show. This is a request for listener Joe Shacatano, and this group is from Cannonsburg, Pennsylvania. Anybody know where Cannonsburg, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. It's their only release. It's on Odell Bailey's Art Flow record label. I'm pretty sure this is a cover of Danny and the Juniors tune here. It features Chuck Marshall on lead. We go back to April 1963. Art Flow Records, by request for Joe Shacatano, the Four Townsmen. The Four Townsmen with their tune, Sometimes, parentheses, When I'm All Alone. For Joe.
Sometimes when I'm all alone, feeling kinda low, you come back to cheer me up because you love me so. No, no, no.
Sometimes when I'm all alone, feeling kinda low, you come back to cheer me up because you love me so. You know I'll be true no matter what you do. Please, darling, say you'll want me to. Sometimes when we're on a date, I tell myself beware. Your folks don't know that we're all late, and I don't really care. I really want you for my wife. I really need you all my life. Please, darling, don't leave me in despair. You know how I feel about you, darling. You're in every thought and every prayer. Every prayer. Darling, can't you see that I'm crazy over you? Why don't you reveal the way you care? Sometimes when I'm all alone, feeling kinda low, you come back to cheer me up because you love me so. You know I'll be true no matter what you do. Please, darling, say you'll love me sometimes.
As by request for Joe Shacatano, those are the Four Townsmen. Four Townsmen from April 1963. It's on the Art Flow record label. Sometimes When I'm All Alone. That's Danny and the Juniors. That's a B-side, I think, to At the Hop. And that's a very rare 45, by the way, you folks. So that's going to do it for Johnny G and the Vinyl Treasure Show. Want to thank you for joining Johnny G, listening to original vinyl 45s out of my collection. You want to get in touch with me, send me an email at vinyltreasures@aol.com. If you missed any part of the show, you can go to my website, vinyltreasures.net, to listen to the stream or download the show, or you can come right back to YouTube if I don't have any copyright strikes, and you can kind of go back and watch the show. You can scroll forward to the songs you like or dislike or whatever. You can go back and make comments, etc. So thank you all tonight for tuning in to the show, and thank you, Charlene, for all your help again, as she is a very integral part to the Vinyl Treasure Show. And that's going to do it, folks. We're going to close the show tonight with a request for George Tompkins. Actually, last week, listener Josue Perez, he requested the Pretenders on Rose International from 1963 with the up-tempo side. It was called Answer to My Prayers, and George Tompkin, actually, it was an old request that he requested the flip side, which is a ballad, which is the side that usually gets played. But this group it's a rare record, ultra rare 45 out of Los Angeles, California. I think Mark Goldfarb, I think you're looking for an original copy of this too, and I think you showed me like an acetate that you have of this record. But this group is out of Los Angeles, California. The members were Fred Garcia, Tommy Gonzalez, Ray Rocha, and the lead singer, his name is Bobby Rose, and this is on the Rose International label out of Inglewood, California. Background vocals were by Don Julian of the Meadowlarks, and Johnny Otis is on drums. So our closer goes out to George Tompkins tonight, April 63, The Pretenders on Rose International with Don't Tell a Lie. Johnny G tells no lies, as I only play original vinyl 45s, not those stinking MP3s that I know so many other people play on the Top Shelf Oldies Network. But anyway, folks, that's going to do it. Please tune in tomorrow evening for my buddy Dave the Raven, his Relics and Rarities show. It all begins at 9 o'clock on TopShelfOldies.org. It's at 9 o'clock. You can go there and give a listen to Dave the Rave and his Relics and Rarities show. Dave, also a collector of original vinyl, but all 1960s. He's been playing a lot of rockabilly lately. So if you like rockabilly, you might want to tune in to Dave the Rave. He's been playing it, and he's got some pretty rare ones too. But anyway, that's going to do it, folks. Again, thank you so much for tuning in. Send your requests to vinyltreasures@aol.com, and I'll be back next Saturday. We get an extra, Joe Shakatana, you happy? We get an extra week, because I think next week it's still 1950s, and then the following week will be the 31st. That'll be an all 60s show. That's going to do it, folks. Everybody stay well, stay cool. I'll see you next Saturday at 10 o'clock right here on Top Shelf Oldies and Vinyl Treasures. If you're new, please subscribe to my station. Please subscribe to the YouTube, to my YouTube page, and click like and click subscribe. Just want to say, everybody, so long for George. So Mark Goldfarb, you're looking for that 45, right? It's a hard record. I paid a lot of money from Eddie Estrada when he sold me that record out of California. This is a rare record, too, that Joe Shakatana requested. It's the, who's the writer on this? Oh, yeah, White for Danny White. They're the Four Townsmen. Sometimes When I'm All Alone is the cover of the Danny and the Juniors flip of At the Hop, I think. And then this is that rare This is that rare Rose International 45 that Eddie saw me a long time ago. Don't Tell a Lie. It's actually a pretty great tune. I like this side better. But anyway, that's going to do it, folks. I just, again, earlier in the show, I mentioned, and I was kind of tickled that one of my listeners, Tom Shaughnessy, and I hope you're watching, Tom, because I'm going to read it again, that he wrote this poem about Johnny G and the Vinyl Treasure Show. And I'm going to post it on my on the YouTube site, too, so people can see it. He told me, he wrote it this morning, and I saw it the first thing. He said, "Good morning, Johnny. Today is the day. Tonight is the night. Johnny G will make it right. Playing great songs from his collection. Go, Johnny, go. Let the music flow. Touch the hearts of folks who listen. Tell your stories we all long to hear." Actually, you can say listen. That would rhyme. And then it says, he opens the door to the past, brings us back to a time when we hung around the soda shop to hear music, drinking pop. We listened to the Coasters, the Cadillacs, and the Wrens, and these days wonder whatever happened to those friends. Johnny G brings us back in time with the music he plays. Go, Johnny, go. And that's by Tommy Shaughnessy. Thank you for that, Tom. That is a very nice thing to say. So very nice to do that. Thank you. And thank you all for tuning into the Vinyl Treasure Show, and thank you, Charlene, for all your help again. And I'll be back next Saturday with more of your requests, again beginning at 10 o'clock, 10 to geez, here we go again. 1:45 is the sign-off time, and I don't see any. Was there any buffering tonight? Did you notice? Because I'm up to KBS of 5131. That's a lot. So I don't know. I don't know if it kind of buffers out for you. But anyway, so we'll be back next Saturday again, folks. Everybody have a safe and happy week, and I'll see you then. So just take care, everybody. So long. Bye-bye.